Hey everybody, you know who this is. This is James, otherwise known as the Skate Punk Lefty, back here with another video where we're going to be making fun of a black conservative clown named Ruined Leon. Um, before we get to the pretense of this case and everything that's been going on in this country, I'm going to say one of the most radical things that I've ever said because I'm really upset. Make sure that you have the means to defend yourself in this climate of fascism and white supremacy that's bearing down on our country, and that's not just bearing down on African Americans, but also the Hispanic community, on the LGBT folks, and even just the working class white people that are just pretty much can fit in, but they disagree with them. Make sure you find a means to defend yourself. Carry a taser, carry pepper spray, take a martial arts class, or take boxing, or perhaps somebody can teach you how to fight, like on the streets or whatever. Like, just try to learn some way of defending yourself. Of course, exercise that Second Amendment, because the point of this case, right? And that's because in the search bar, I was trying to see that he cover it, but he didn't. So it looks like I'm gonna have to do this. So, but I'm not stopping to like erase nobody's name because I googled that to see if he covered it because I was watching a Roland Martin video about it, and it's, don't get me wrong, you have your normal clowns, right? Your Matt Walshes, your actual justice warrior, the guy who pretends to know about legality and shit like that, but it's actually just a conservative white supremacist fraud that likes to see black people get killed or injured by racist white people. So these are the same people that were defending Derek Chauvin. These are the same people that were defending the guys who arguably murdered and lynched, or I should say unalive here on YouTube, the Ahmaud Arbery kid when he was just going for a jog and there was no proof found of him committing any criminal acts, and then they backed off of it and pretended like they didn't know anything. And these are also the same people who would defend people like Kyle Rittenhouse and Ashley Babbitt, two people clearly going to a certain place or area with violent intent. So, to sum up the case, from what I know, I don't know if I should do it now or later because I'm kind of pissed off right now. Because I don't know what the hell this guy's gonna say, and it's like I'm sick and tired of this sycophantic nonsense. I know the one, the gay Republican, I forgot his name. What is his name? Talking about some I apologize for the black community. What is that guy's name? Y'all gonna? I'm gonna try to make this video quick. Apologize for the black community. I cannot find this guy's name. I can find people that have made fun of him, but at the same time I can't find the guy's name. Maybe I can Google it like this, like gay black Republican, which is a band, by the way. Gay Black Republican is ironically a punk rock band. Gay Black Republican, CNN, bullying. I cannot find. I cannot find this guy's name. I forget this guy's name, bro. But he's the same motherfucker that I was talking about. Kamala Harris, whatever. I don't care. So I'm gonna move on. But the point being is that he's talking about something. I apologize for the black community and stuff. And Reese Waters is coming out with a video about him. I saw the Amazing Lucas make fun of him and stuff like that. But I just wanted to get my 2 cents in, and I don't like the beat a dead horse or be a broken record making fun of the same people I've heard earlier get made fun of. So we got a new guy here. In this case, bro, and I'm gonna keep it vague for now because I don't want to ruin the meat of this video. It's clearly self-defense, and anybody who's saying that it's not self-defense, though it's like a tragedy, it's self-defense, and there's no other way around it because you don't get to touch people for being in the wrong area. If you see somebody, for instance, like you're at a rival school group or something like that, you go find a security guard or you call the police. You do not in any way put your hands on anybody for any reason. And even if somebody says touch me and see what happens, that's not an excuse either. You don't put your hands on somebody. The only people that have power to put their hands on somebody really is the police, because technically even most security guards, those that are not deputized, or they have a special paperwork to arrest and grab people, you're supposed to call the police. So or the security guard is the person that asks people to move and go to the areas that they are supposed to be in. So without further ado, let's see what this motherfucking clown has to say
about this Carmelo Anthony discourse is all the people, specifically the black people, who are in support for Carmelo Anthony. And it is not to say you can't be in support of somebody, because we lack all of the...
He is saying that. I hate when like conservatives do this all the time. Even people like Asmongo would do this shit, where or Joe Rogan, all these motherfuckers do this shit where they be like, I'm not saying that you can't be like pro this or pro that, but this, and then it's like clearly this entire video and its framing is to be a video talking about why black people shouldn't be able to defend themselves from people putting hands on them just because they're white. Even if we used to take race out of it, right? Because we can take race out of it, right? And we could pretend like it was two black kids or two white kids or whatever. You don't grab somebody because they are so-called in the wrong area if you're just a student or whatever. And it doesn't matter if you're a college student, it doesn't matter if it's high school or middle school. You get a security guard or you call the police. You don't put your hands on people. I don't know how much clearer that shit can be, bro.
The crucial details. I know people are scrambling on social media, put a pin in that because we're going to deal with it in a moment, to try to just end the case right here and now. But the thing about going on social media and trying to solve a case is that you don't have all the critical information.
People aren't trying to solve the case. They're just advocating that Carmelo Anthony has a fair trial and arguing against racist people that are trying to railroad him through the justice system. If anything, when I'm reading on social media, because this has gone so viral, and and I have a Facebook account, unfortunately, though I follow mostly leftists. Facebook is a right-wing platform, not as bad as Twitter, but still a right-wing platform. I'm constantly getting like views of this like story from different like news outlet, right, left, and center, or even tabloids and stuff. And in the comments is racist white people calling people the N-word and saying that he's gonna rot in prison for the rest of his life. Even people doxing him and posting like his new address and shit. So if we're talking about people that are trying to like solve the case and like railroad somebody, you might want to talk to your audience.
Or the critical details, or the critical thought to think to yourself, maybe what I'm looking at right now on social media might be just a little bit, just a tad bit BS, and I should proceed with caution.
The people that post about this most on social media are conservative white people and black conservatives that and it's like, this is horrible. Y'all are literally defending, so like, I'll get to that later. Like, y'all are literally defending like bullying and somebody getting mistreated and acting as if they don't have the right to defend themselves, but it's everybody else going crazy. Sure.
Especially since I'm puffing my chest out and saying I care about this case specifically for the poor, disenfranchised African-American youth that is struggling in the legal system right now. And I want to see an outcome that benefits him and not anyone else. And that's cool. That is your given right to have.
No, that's not what people say. You see this like black conservative hyper framing. And it's like, and I talked about this with a couple of people recently, is that, when it comes to black activism or, civil rights activism versus racist white people that say like, quote unquote, white lives matter versus black lives matter and stuff. And when we talk about our people going through things versus their people going through things, see, it's a difference in rhetoric. It's because a lot of the people that he's preaching to in himself, they're already racist. So they are under the assumption that everybody else is racist and thinks exactly the same way that they do. When it comes to discussing this case and going through the details about it, it's about making sure that this kid has a fair trial. At the end of the day, this child, Carmelo Anthony, this young man, has been bastardized and called a thug and a criminal for defending himself from two white kids that were trying to like literally jump him and grab him and move him to a different location.
Of that stance. But as I stated in the last video, if you are faking things, you do not help him. You hinder him. And I will further stroke my own ego and prove my point, because all of you online people that are fighting tooth and nail to come up with all these random stories.
This guy's crazy.
And you're confirming it as if it's true, even though you got nothing to back that shit up.
It was. What is he talking about? The witness? It's a witness testimony. What do you want them to do? And and his brother even said, came out and said that, it was them being aggressive towards him and it just went wrong. So like, he's like, and it's like this is black conservative job though, is to hype up, dance, and like and do backwards flip for racist white people that like to see bad things happen to black people.
Are embarrassing. How do I know that? This man right here is named Dominique Alexander, and he runs an organization, I believe, called NGAN. And what he's done over the past few days is talk with the Frisco police. The police that are investigating this thing, the police that on 2 separate occasions.
I mean, it's his right, because he has a civil rights advocacy organization that's trying to make sure that Carmelo Anthony has a fair trial. He's trying to make sure that the police are not being one-sided and railroading him with like weird questions or whatever to make it an easier murder conviction on a young black kid who's scared and doesn't really know what to say. So that's what attorneys and civil rights advocacy organizations do. At least on the civil rights side, he's ensuring that this kid has a fair trial, that his charges are just. He's trying to ask the police, probably what questions was he asked, and what details do they have. This is public information that anybody can get when you want to ask about a case, especially when you're a part of an advocacy organization.
Have to come out publicly and say the information y'all pulling from Facebook is fake and that autopsy was fake. Well, he did what none of you people have the balls to do. He sought a meeting with the police to talk about a number of things. He wanted to talk about the racist accusation going around. He wanted to talk about...
I mean, that's not really important. Nobody said that the Metcalf kid, it was racist. Nobody said that. That's not the point. And it only, like I said, it's only racial because of racist black people like yourself and racist white people are making it racial.
About the threats towards Carmelo's family and how their address got leaked, which is fucking insane. And if you're cheering that on or you're condoning that, fuck you. You're not creating a safe haven of discussion when you're bringing up and leaking people's addresses. Oh, that's not true at all. How do you know? Did Twitter tell you the greatest place to seek information? How about instead of trying to dismiss a real threat of people's lives being at stake, you just say, pump the brakes on that because that's fucking weird.
That's the first good thing he said this entire video.
This man not only went to discuss that, but went to discuss all the bullshit going around. Because if you comb through social media, there's a lot of BS going around in this world that is helping nobody, specifically Carmelo Anthony. And in this video that is about 30 minutes long, which you could go watch because it's on the Dallas-Fort Worth Dallas News Fox Network YouTube channel, he dismisses all the fucking claims that have been made on Facebook and on TikTok.
Now, what I want to be able to do is ensure, and what we was able to hear today from the Frisco Police Department is reassuring that the Frisco Police Department is doing everything that it can to address the racism and the bigotry. We have saw the police chief a statement being...
He was talking about the racism and the bigotry on part of the police department, not on the part of Austin himself. Like I said, nobody is making a... Like, I don't understand that, because no black person is really making a claim that Austin was racist. It's just that after this case, went national, racist people made it their fight. So then black people have to stand up for our people, because if we don't and we sit divided, or worse yet, we agree with the racist white people, that's how we face our destruction. That's how we wind up, back with, Jim Crow laws. That's how we wind up in a situation where we don't advocate for one another, so black people can never defend themselves, even from attacks that are actually racially motivated. Like, as such was what happened to Ahmaud Arbery when he was like unalived by the McMichaels, and they actually were saying the N-word and stuff. That's how stuff like that get normalized. It's from people not standing up for other people who've defended themselves from the majority, and in this case, white people.
And sent out by the police chief, that was false. We have saw a false autopsy report, that was false. We have to caution the community to say, hey, we cannot trust everything that is online. The disinformation that is going online
I don't need to hear this. So is it in the case he's trying to use? See, he's most of the video. Are you serious? So is he trying to like use his words? Because I'm sure that this guy, his whole ass, bro. I'm trying not to say that, but this dude is a bitch. Because you're trying to use his words discussing and talking about white supremacist misinformation about this case to dismiss all, and the small minority of black people and activists that have said things about the case that's not true. You're trying to use his words against the activists that, which him himself is on his side. No, what this man is talking about, he's talking about the racist white people that are injecting racist narratives into this case, dude. Like, I can believe it, because like dishonesty is the name of the game when it comes to black Republicans. They can't, because they co-opt civil rights activist language to promote white supremacy through a black mouth. That's the point.
Around peddling random witnesses as if they're 100% fact.
It's only been one witness to this case that at least that I know of, and the guy said that he put his hands on him and he got unalive with a cleat cleaner. It turns out later that it wasn't even a knife.
Finally, y'all, a witness came out and made a statement in the Carmelo Anthony case, and I have to let y'all hear this because this is the piece I have been missing, that I have been waiting for the witnesses, for the students around.
And let me guess, Leon, you don't believe him because he was black. So like, if I ain't gonna even make that joke, because this is what this is basically saying, right? Because what this exists to do, even though this case, right, is a racial case where the race of the people doesn't matter. So this is to normalize violence against black people and black people not defending themselves against actual white supremacist violence, right? So even if you're black, right, and you see a like a Nazi or a Klansman or Proud Boy, whatever, beat or unalive a black person right in your face, right, and you're black, and they say don't say a word, N-word, by Leon's logic and all these other black conservatives' logic, Tatum and all these other motherfuckers, you're supposed to not say anything, or your word doesn't matter because you're black and you saw what happened. How did you know they were Nazis? They literally said Sieg Heil when they were doing it. How did you know it was racial? They were saying the N-word when they were stomping them. So in this case, bro, it's like I said, it goes from intermediate self-defense to actual terrorism that you might face as a black person. They want no defense of your people. They want no defense of yourself. You can't physically defend yourself, and if you're black and you see a black person getting harmed or unalived or some shit, then you can't say anything. And I can guarantee you, if I go to this guy's channel at the end of this video, he's not gonna have shit to say about the FSU shooting.
Around the situation to see what happened, and this is what he had to say.
Trying to get back to their cars, or
this is the witness.
Get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra wet. Dude was sitting up on the
And I want to make something clear too, by people saying that he doesn't understand what he's saying, because I'm from the north too. I'm from Michigan, but so I have a northern like type dialect and way of speaking, right? And my voice is kind of proper, I would say, versus like your average person from the south. And all the racist people saying that they can't understand what he's saying, you got to keep in mind, southern black people and black people at large learn to speak from southern white people. Southern white people say all the same shit, the ain'ts, the can'ts, the gonna gets, get on, out of here, all that shit. That comes from how white people taught black people to talk. So before, anybody says anything like, oh, I can't understand what he says, because he talks like someone rapper. No, that's how white slave owners taught black people how to talk back in the day. And, this dialect sticks around among southern whites and southern black people.
tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah.
He's talking about Carmelo.
I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity, so I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So, dude, what was up? McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent.
He's talking about the twins.
Over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry.
Carmelo was on his phone.
They went from another. They grabbed this man.
Grabbed him.
They tried to punch on.
So, Second Amendment racist white people out there and the black bootlickers that support them. If you had your firearm on you, your 9mm or whatever, or your 6-shooter, whatever, your Smith & Wesson, your Walter P. If a person grabbed you when you were armed, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Dude went in there and what they went to try to jump this dude and punch on this dude, man. And he protected himself, dude. That's what happened.
Mind you, this man does not know Carmelo.
That's one. It was both of them, bro. Austin, the dude that got unalive, and his brother, went over there to intentionally. It's not to the point that he brought a knife. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is
wasn't on school property.
Miles away. It was community track meet, bruh. It wasn't a school track meet.
Thank you.
Do I know if they're 100% fact? No. Would I broadcast them as if they were?
I'm sorry, bitch. Were you there? Where's your witnesses at? Where's the counter witnesses that say the opposite? And he's failing to mention that his brother confirmed what happened. And the father confirmed what happened too. And the father told y'all to stop politicizing it. But y'all racist motherfuckers can't help yourselves.
Fuck no! Why? Because in an open investigation, I would think the worst place to talk about information is social media. Because when
I mean, you can speak out about what happened when you see racist white people politicizing it. Like, what takes away his right to speak out about what happened? He's a grown-ass man, right? Who, because the police probably already have his statement, right? And if he wants to speak out about, what he saw, is in his rights to do so. Like, if I saw some shit like that happening, not only would I step up to help him, but I will also speak out about what I saw and what I experienced. When this again is to normalize white supremacist violence against black people. So when you're black, you don't say anything when you see a black person getting assaulted. You don't say anything when you see black people getting kidnapped off the street and stuff like that. It's the same as like the Emmett Till shit, where what happened there, where black people get or the numerous amounts of black people who were beaten and attempted to get unalived, the ones that were unalived, is for you to never say anything when you see a clearly politicized and racialized case against your people. You don't say anything. White people get to say anything as soon as something happened to one of their people, but black people gotta wait on the facts, and a black witness is never a good witness. I think that is ridiculous, but that's the point of this video. I don't really think there's a reason to even finish it. What I want to see is if this guy has said anything about the FSU shooting. That's what I want to know, because the FSU shooting was done by white supremacists, right? Another school shooting where the narrative is more important. How long am I in? Because I didn't cover that one for that long. Oh, 24 minutes. Never mind. This is going to be a cut.